Mwah!
Whoa!
Yeah, started off with a kiss.
How did it end up like this?
I was gonna say the rest of that song, but I forgot it for the first time in my life. Right at the moment, I was like, "Fuck!" I have to remember it in like these next like half a second right now. Is it a kiss? How did it end up like this? The next line is, "How did it end up like this again?" So it was only a kiss. Yeah, I could have done that.
It was only a kiss.
I could have done that. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to All the Space Between. My name is Mitch.
My name is Billy. Welcome to the podcast.
You're gonna have a killer time. You were drinking while I said that, and it didn't come shooting out your nose. Well, you must not have heard me. Is this on?
You didn't actually do a comedy spit take.
Yeah.
So
into the out of your nose and mouth and ears.
I have to assume you didn't hear me, because if you'd have heard me,
how freaked out would you be if I was like drinking I don't know, like some almond milk or something, and you say something funny and I go like that, and it just comes shooting out of both ears. You know, like all at once. Boom! Shoots out of both ears.
I'd be alarmed for like your health, I think, more than anything. Like, are your sinuses okay?
My brain was milked. Yeah, my brain was almond milked, and I don't feel good about it.
Oh my god.
Where were we? Right. How did it end up like this? It was only a kiss. Yeah. It was only a kiss. Now she's doing the thing, and he's doing the thing, and I don't know the words, but now he's doing the thing, and now I'm smoking a cigarette.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm what?
Ask me what I'm drinking.
I was noticing you keep on doing it on cam.
Yeah.
It looks like a lager.
It's not a lager.
It looks like a tall.
It doesn't look like
a tall
a lager.
Can. It's like a tall boy.
It's not a can.
Okay, I'm assuming it's a can because it's all like in a brown paper bag. So I don't know what's inside the paper bag.
It's a glass.
It looks like chocolate milk. Is it chocolate milk?
Close. It's what? And, you know, considering that it's 2:30 in the morning, that would be the appropriate thing to be drinking.
Oh, it's no, it still wouldn't be appropriate to be drinking a chocolate milk at 2 a.m.
Chocolate milk is a great bedtime drink.
I think it's if my kid did that, I would say I'm not a good parent for allowing you to do that.
I'm an adult, so I'm allowed to do it. And chocolate milk's a great bedtime drink.
It's a coffee.
It is a cold brewed mocha coffee.
Again, yeah, I think you did this last episode too.
At 2:30 in the morning.
I think you did this last episode.
I don't think I did. I don't remember.
Thought about doing it.
I don't remember. I was crazed on caffeine that episode. I don't remember.
I don't remember what I pugged it, so I actually don't remember what I drank. But yeah, I was all jittery.
It's all a blur to me.
Very structureless show on this episode, but I don't mind that. I just like. Let me expand the window really quick. Just like looking at you.
Oh, hello.
I like looking at you when we do this. I think you look good. Oh. There we go. This is All the Space Between. My name is Mitch. That is Billy. And
I'm Billy.
Together, we usually have just the world's best advice podcast where you send in your questions. And every episode, we pick 3 emails. We respond to them on the show. And we try our darndest to jack into the cyberweb and give you the best advice that we can. But this time, we don't want to do that.
This time, fellas, we're simply not in the mood.
I don't want to do it. We looked through the emails and we thought, yeah, maybe another time. So we're not going to do that this episode. And we thought it would actually be more fun and more tantalizing to our brains if we actually just talked about art.
Yeah.
We were kind of in the mood to talk about art. But just to get out of the way, if you do have a question that you want us to answer on the show, you can send us an email, and our email is
allthespaceinbetween@gmail.com. Perhaps this art episode will tickle a little art-related question that you'd like to ask us and get some advice or opinions on, and we would love to read it. So send them in.
Or you'll listen to this episode and think, man, that reminds me about how I'm in a relationship that I don't like, or that I do like, but I have a question. And you can send us any relationship questions, or you can send us any art questions, or you can send us any vulgar questions, or anything like that. Any fun questions. We love to read them on the show. Or anything you want us to talk about on the show, we'll do it.
Send us anything you want.
And that's great. It's
questions,
free too.
Advice, your social security number, your debit card.
Your debit card, but if you do send us the debit card, there's the 3 digits on the back. Please don't forget to include that.
You don't know how many emails we have to ignore because they forget to include the 3 digits on the
date
back.
on the back. We need to know your full name, full legal name, and for order for us to do that.
All right. So we're not answering any questions.
No questions.
We're not doing any emails. Well, that's not true. We are answering questions.
We're answering questions, yeah.
Our own questions.
That's right. Bam! I'm gonna put a thunder sound effect there, even though this isn't a lightning round. But I just want to give myself something to edit because I'm not gonna have to do our like normal editing with the reverb and the song and all that stuff. So I wanted to have a little bit there, and just because I can do it, we got a duck sound right there again.
Oink.
Hey, did you hear the last episode? Did you hear the duck sound?
I didn't hear the duck sound. I did listen to some of it, but I didn't hear the duck sound, actually.
You don't support me at all, do you?
I did.
You don't like my art. I'm glad this is an art-related episode because, I have a lot to say about that. First question, what do you do when your partner doesn't support your art?
Oh my god.
We have a handful of things that we just jotted down, and we wanna get to them. So to us, they're very interesting questions. So if you yourself are an artist or just thought, man, art, I'm a fan of that myself. Maybe this is the episode for you. So let's get right into it. Maybe.
If you're not an artist or fan of art, then I'm not really sure how you know us or found our podcast.
Right.
But maybe stay ananyway. I don't know.
Maybe this will be the thing that finally gets you to appreciate art. This will be it.
Okay. We didn't really talk about how we were going to do this. Who was going to ask what question?
I want to ask you the questions.
Like that. Oh, okay.
This was like my idea to do this, and I kind of want to. Okay. I'd love to pick your brain a little bit. I love to sit down and just kind of pick your brain, just you and I.
Oh my god!
Turn your microphone off.
Oh, okay.
I want just you and I to have a convo. We don't talk anymore.
That's not. We talk for so long every single day.
We talked for 3 hours leading up to this. We did yoga even when we were talking before this. So under questions to cover, my first question I want to ask you relating to art is that: did you always know that you wanted to be an artist?
No. No.
Not from like, when you were 4 or something, but I'm saying like from when you were thinking about what you wanted to do in life as a teen, you didn't know that you wanted to be an artist?
No. Well, first of all, when I was 4, all I wanted to do was go bungee jumping and marry my mother. One of which is illegal and the other should be illegal because it's too scary. So I wasn't really thinking about my career options at that point.
No, you were just living life. Running off of just pure emotion.
Yes. But when I was a teenager, no, I was pretty sure that I was gonna do something science-based actually, because this is like shocking to hear, especially if you've listened to the podcast. If you've listened to the podcast for a long time, it's shocking to hear, but also if you've just heard my voice at all and how stupid it sounds. I was very bright in school.
That actually doesn't surprise me.
I was very academically accomplished.
I mean, you and I have been together for years, so I obviously know that by now. But when I did learn it, you do kind of strike me as a little gifted. You do kind of just have that. You have that sort of an energy as someone who just did well and excelled in school very easily without having to try. Like still kind of like a little scoundrel of a person, but also someone who could do good in school if he really wanted. And
that sums it up very well.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school barely at all when I hated it there, but I made sure to do all of my work because I really loved doing it actually, especially physics and chemistry. I was by far my favorite subject.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin. It's boring liked now hearing it even.
Art was good, but I didn't really think that I was gonna do a job of it. It's just I like it. Of course I like art. But I was into photography in high school, but I didn't think that being a photographer was a job, really. Or I didn't know anyone who did it as a job. I didn't know how that would work. And the careers advisor was like, well, if you like science and you love photography, you could be a forensic photographer. And I was like, that sounds horrifying. But I was goth at the time, so I had to pretend that it sounded cool to me. And that's what I told everyone that I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to be a forensic photographer.
Yeah, I'm going to be like that fucking goth girl in
From that crime show.
Yeah, what crime show is that? NCIS or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was also at a place when I was younger where I was like, yeah, no, I'm like totally edgy and like very goth and stuff. So of course I want to work at a mortuary, I guess. When in reality, like the thought of it just like made my blood run cold, you know? I'm like, I don't want to fucking do that.
Scary.
That's horrible. I want to just hang out with my friends. I don't want to actually live this life. That's terrible. I know.
What one of my goth friends last year during the pandemic started working at a mortuary, and I was like, I can't believe you actually did it. Everyone else was like talking shit and bigging themselves up. You actually did it. Yeah. She's still goth and now she works at a mortuary.
That's
like,
pretty
you're
cool.
So brave.
That's like the final step, you know?
I know.
I would do some stuff. Like I would like cut the like feet off of like crows and like preserve them sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I would like make them into little like keychains and stuff for my backpack for school. But then I wouldn't do it a lot. I did it like 2 or 3 times and I had to stop because every single time my dog would just chew up the foot. I would like leave my backpack on the floor when I got home and then my dog would just be like, this is jerky. And I'm like, I guess technically it's jerky.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. It's salted. I salted it for you. I cured meat for you. Crow meat.
Very hard. It's very hard being an edgy teenager. But anyway, back to the question. I don't think I really want. No, I didn't think that was a job. Really, I wasn't really good enough at. Not good enough, but not interested enough in. What do you call it? Traditional art, like drawing and painting and stuff. I was like, well, that's definitely not a job. But it is something that's cool, but it's not a job. And then I got really into photography, but I was like, that's just self-expression. No one pays you for that, obviously.
Yeah, and you're wise to think that.
Yeah. I mean, was I wrong?
Yeah, no, you totally nailed it. That was a gut reaction for a reason. It's because there's not a lot of money in this.
Yeah. No, so when I went to sixth form college, I went to study like physics and chemistry and further mathematics and stuff. But then just very much on a whim, I just swapped and I was like, I'm going to drop out and go to photography school, actually. And the course that I went on was actually, it wasn't an art foundation course, which is where you learn about doing art, which is what most people do for like 1 year art university things.
Right.
I did a diploma in something that was called professional photographic practice, which was actually all about teaching you how to be a photographer for a living, like as a business.
So they're teaching you, like the trade of being like a studio photographer.
But they're teaching you the different routes you can go down, being a studio photographer or a stock photographer, even being a fucking like paparazzi photographer. They were like, you can do that if you want. It is like photography and it does pay. Yeah.
You'd be known as a rodent of a person, but
but
if that's the life you want to live.
Yeah. It is the job. Yeah. Fashion photography was a big part of it. E-commerce. A lot of it was just, so then from there I was like, oh, this is a job, but it's only a job if you do it in a boring kind of way. That sucks. And I was like, there has to be an in-between. And eventually I got to where I am now. But no, I didn't always want to be an artist because I didn't think that photography was an artist or a job, really. Yeah, I wanted to do something in the sciences and be like a doctor of some kind, I think. Yeah.
But like, what age did that change? I mean, like, was it a gradual thing, or were you like, okay, now I fully want to do this. I'm going to put everything I have into it.
Probably when I hit about 18.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Then I really swapped courses and was just like, this is the thing that I do now. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about 16 or 17 when I was like, you know what? I want to just see if this goes anywhere. I'll give it like a few years and see if this just goes anywhere. Because I was like, I'm young and I'm dumb and I'm full of cum, and I need to try this out now. But and
now what? Old, cold, full of mold.
Oh God, yeah. The cum is curdled, and now it's I'm not full of it anymore.
That's disgusting.
No, I hate that these two things have to be so close in the conversation that they're basically touching, but I wanted to become a teacher. um, so I still think I'd be like an okay teacher.
I actually still want to be a teacher at some point.
I think when I'm older, I would like to be a teacher. I mean, especially with all the things that we've accomplished when we were younger. I think we could become teachers when we're older.
Yeah, I mean, especially doing the arts, that's like really what, once you've done a good few like things by yourself, you're like, yeah, now I would, a salary sounds nice.
Totally.
Maybe,
yes.
Perhaps holiday sounds nice. But yeah, maybe we'll just both be teachers when we get older. That might be funny.
Yeah, but I want us to be like older.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to do this for a good while longer. But
of course.
Well, particularly when I was younger, and this is not something that I'd like to do anymore, but only because I would have liked to have gone to school for it, studied it a lot more. But when I was younger, from about middle school to about halfway through high school, almost all the way through high school, I had fully intended to work as a teacher and teach like special ed.
Like SEN.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I wanted to do that a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I started flat sound when I was 16 years old, and I for sure thought that it was nothing, but I also kind of knew it wasn't at the same time. I knew that it could be something and that I was at least very willing to try. But the idea that it could be something was like, the thing I thought it would be was like, maybe one day some people will listen to it, Maybe one day I can have like an EP out. And I can write so many songs, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them of my own originals, and then maybe one day people will even like listen to it on their own. I wasn't thinking about money or making a living off it. I just knew I wanted to do it, and I wanted to be a songwriter, because even that to me then, when I had written "I Exist," that was like the 4th song I'd ever written,
God.
And I was still thinking then, like, I'm just like, this is just a thing I'm doing on MySpace.
That's wacky.
Yeah, and I really hope that, like, the wrong people don't hear it. I feel like they're going to make fun of me about it, Because I was always thinking, like, man, like, what if just, like, someone random in, like, Australia just, like, liked my music and connected with it? And that was the idea of making it to me, Because even that was, like, a far-fetched dream. I wasn't thinking about any money. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I kind of knew that I had a few years to just float, Mm-hmm. I could like probably get a job. I was still a teenager. I didn't have to figure anything out. My dad was super okay with me not going to college.
That's cool.
Because I was barely going to high school, so why the fuck would I go to college? And the only college people would ever suggest to me was art school. And I have a very different take on art school now, but when I was like younger and super pretentious, I was just like, I would never go to art school. And I would like suggest that so many people go to art school. But at the time I was like, no one's going to teach me how to write a song better than me, which is not true for everybody. And it's especially not true if you're learning like something that involves like, if you're, I don't know, if you're like, even like with photography, like cameras are complicated tools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So to have someone teach you, like, they're not teaching you how to be expressive with that thing. They're teaching you how to use it as a tool to be expressive. Mm-hmm. So art school's not bad. Obviously, art school's not bad. But at the time, I was just like, no, art school's like lame, and no one's gonna. But then again, they would always assume that I wanted to like go to art school and then work as like a working musician, like work in a studio. Mm-hmm. Or like play guitar really well on somebody else's album, or maybe even write songs for other people. Mm-hmm. Nobody sort of expected me to like fully pursue it as like, I am the artist, this is my art, and I want to make a living off of it. My project. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because to be fair, it's a pipe dream, like it's not impossible, and people listening to this can do it. Absolutely, they can do it. It's a lot of hard work for a maybe, though.
Yeah, I think that the only other people that I know that make a living off of music are working, recording and touring artists.
Right.
Who do stuff for other people's bands and stuff.
Which is a really cool way to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's rarer to do the thing that you do.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly know of other musicians and stuff, obviously, but it's how big Flat Sound has gotten without the help of another something and just existing and posting songs online and stuff. It's certainly a unique thing, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always used to like my dad would always say like he was perfect in the sense that he was not so supportive that he was like my little like momager, because I had a lot of friends that would create stuff, and they were like also 16, and their parents are like setting them up shows and booking them studio time and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, if we fly down to Nashville, then we can get you this, and then you'll get trained by this person, and then you'll become. None of those friends made it. Of course, none of those friends made it because your mom is doing it with you. Your mom's doing it for you. My dad was like perfect in the sense that he bought me a multi-track recorder, and he just like, do something with it if you want. I don't know, do something.
Yeah.
Because he knew I had kind of an interest in it. And he's like, yeah, use these tools. And he just bought me a shitty 4-track, a shitty 8-track, But at the time, I was blown away. It was a Fostex 8-track recorder. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And I taught myself how to use it and recorded like my first 3 Flat Sound albums on it. Like, it's on display in my living room.
It
all
is, yeah,
broken
that's
up
true.
and stuff. I love that machine more than anything. And he was perfect because when I showed him my art, he was like, this sucks. Like, this is really bad, dude. Like, I don't get it. And it gave me just the right amount of just like fire inside me to be like, oh, you're not supposed to get it, And I go back and I do it more, It's lame when your parents like want to be a part of it too much, because then you're not being yourself, I was fully being myself, and my dad had no problem telling me, don't you think you could like, I mean, the words are pretty good. You could maybe sell this to someone else who can sing, Or like where like the recording doesn't sound like this. Like, and I was like, I would never sell my song. And he's like, then why are you doing it? And I used to think about that so much and just think like, I guess I'm just doing it. I guess I just want to do it. Like,
I guess I have a drive inside of my soul.
I don't expect anything from it. I just really feel like I need to be doing this.
Yeah.
And he let me.
Well.
So yeah, the two ends of the spectrum there of parents are just like, parents who just like, no, I'm not going to let you waste your time doing this. This is dumb, and you're going to go to school. And then there's the parents who are too supportive. My dad was right in the middle, and it's the reason that I did it. It's the reason that I was able to do it. He would have ruined it if he was too into it, or he could have stopped me.
Yeah,
he let me suck. That rule.
It's important to let your kids suck for a while.
Totally, that's how they grow.
Yeah,
and kind of poke them a little bit and just be like, hey, you suck. Not too much, because he was never like, hey, you suck. He was very politely like, is it supposed to sound like that? Like, that's what he would say a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yes. I mean, yes, kind of. Fuck you. Yes, it is. Yes.
It is now. And that's how lo-fi was invented.
Before it was taken from us.
Okay, should we... We're talking so long. We've only done, like, the first question.
I know, but we can move naturally on to the next one.
We can, yeah.
Okay, so you didn't know that you were gonna... You didn't always know that you wanted to do art.
No, not as my main thing, no.
I had a switch in my brain that once I discovered it, I was like, this is it. Like, this is it for me. This is all. And I knew that I could fail, and I was like, I'll get to that bridge when I will cross that bridge when I get there. But currently, I want to do this, and I knew that from a pretty young age. But now that you've been doing art for so many years,
a while, yeah.
The question is, how do you stay motivated after doing art for so long?
I find this one difficult because
it's super hard.
It's super hard. I get very frequently demotivated. I'm unfortunately the kind of person who is very sensitive to things being like thrown off course, and especially when it's tied to your income, and that income is tied to your self-perception and stuff like that, it can be like so up and down. So I don't know, finding motivation is not just like an infinite wellspring inside myself that I can just go to and be like, there's another one, it's difficult. Yeah, I don't know. There's not like a magic a magic trick I can do to become motivated again, you know. But I think a good example is this month, actually. A few weeks ago, at the beginning of this month, I was talking to you and our friend Brooke on the phone, and I was like, I'm feeling terrible about my Patreon.
It's true.
I wasn't like I might stop it, but I was like, I don't know, I just think people are bored of it, and
well, you were saying things close to I might stop it. You were
I
just
was saying stuff close
like I might
to
put
that,
an end
yeah.
to the zine soon, and we're just like, why? How come? And you were like, I lost $8. I'm like, no, come on. And it went down. It dipped below this amount, which is like, honestly, like that's a part of being on Patreon. They have like whole sections of their website, like articles on their website about like dealing with the negative emotions attached to like losing money on Patreon, because it hits you right in the heart. You're like, this is my art that I offer to people. Yeah. So when a bunch of people depledge at once, how are you supposed to interpret that, you know?
It's so bad because it logically in my brain, I'm like, so, okay, at the beginning of this month, the last time I put out a zine, I was really happy because I got my dollar a pledge amount on my page went over $1,000, which looks very impressive, but please remember that I do not take home all that $1,000. Half of it goes to making the stuff that I make.
Nearly all of it.
Yeah, it's not profit, but you know, people have pledged me that amount of money, which is really cool. And I was like, well, that's an amazing milestone to meet, like over $1,000.
It's an honor.
And then over the course of this week, I lost more patrons than I'd ever lost before, and I went down like $100 all in one chunk,
which brings you down. I mean, it's more than you've ever lost before, and it brought you down below the 1,000, which was like that kind of a landmark that you
which I like built up to like be a thing in my head, you know. Even though at the time I was like, it's probably gonna dip below it, so just be prepared for that. But I didn't think it was gonna dip that $100
yeah, and you're, right to the heart. I would like to also say though, no part of this is like, if somebody's thinking about depledging to either of us, don't think that you can't because we'll get upset or anything like that. Depledge right now. I'm encouraging you to depledge if you need to. Don't hold on just because you think you're going to hurt our feelings. This is just like the universal experience of being an artist on Patreon. But we fully understand any reason from your financial situation changed right down to you just don't want to be a part of it anymore. Those are just
suck.
That's you can think that, and please, we encourage you, just please don't hold on to being a patron of either of us
out of guilt.
Don't do that.
That would suck. No. But what I was gonna say next actually relates to that, because I was like, logically I know this because I do it. Pretty much the only times that I'll depledge from people are if I'm paying them monthly and they literally haven't done anything in like 6 months. I'm like, okay, well, this is a dead page that I'm just giving money to for no reason. Okay.
Right.
I know that's not the case with me because I only charge when I do something.
Right.
So really the only other reason people depledge is because they're like, I don't have enough money. Like, I even had an unexpected bill, or I want to support other creators this month, which is totally fine. I'll do that a lot. I'll rotate who I support every few months, and then like I'll circle back round, you know. But I can't afford to support everyone at once, you know. So realistically, I'm like, it's just a logistical thing, you know, and it's a money thing, and it's nothing personal at all. But the non-logical part of me, the emotional side of me, is like, wow, I put a lot of work into this art, and then I put it out, and then a lot of people deleted. That must have been a real pile of shit that I
they must really have a group DM about me. Of course they do. They have a group chat, and they're all like, ew, did you see Billy's latest zine? It was, I can't believe they thought that this was good.
So cringe.
Fuck, and they're like zooming into it and laughing and cringing. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's my worst nightmare.
It's
like an actual nightmare I think I've had. Yeah. But so I was on the phone with you guys and I was just like, I'm just feeling bad. I don't think it's good anymore. I
We
think
had to
that
pep
I'm
talk
not
the
good
fuck out of
anymore.
you.
You had to pep talk me, yeah, both of you. Which is sometimes what it takes. Like
Uh-huh.
I can't motivate myself sometimes. I'm very prone to just thinking the worst of myself. So it's good if you can have someone else that just be like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not realistic and we live in capitalism, you know?
Yep.
And the website you're on has a whole section dedicated to like, here's how to deal with the depression when people
Yes.
depledge from you, because it
Uh-huh.
will happen and
It
you
will
will feel like
happen,
shit,
and everybody
even though
feels
you
bad.
shouldn't. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But then I was like, okay, so I really thought about it and I was like, okay, yes, I'm kind of irrationally upset and it's like not logical, but also it's probably is pointing to a bit of an insecurity that I do actually have subconsciously, which is that I feel maybe some of my zines have been like a little bit samey. Not so samey that it's like bad, but I was like, I don't want them to go on to be samey. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
I should just. I feel like I've kind of like backed myself into a corner stylistically where I'm like, no, they have to have a white background and they have to have this kind of text in them and they kind of,
Mm-hmm.
they've got this certain aesthetic and they have to be film photography. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what if I just make something very different that I feel like making?
Right.
And it's resulted in me being very excited about the next thing I'm making because it's not film photography. It's kind of experimental. It's not something that I've done before. And also it's accidentally like 40 pages long, which I think is the longest one that I've put out.
For sure. And it's some of my favorite stuff you've done, period.
Thank you.
It's really good. It's really, really, really good. And sometimes you need that like
Thanks.
fire under your ass to just be like, like you need to kind of drop down low before you jump up
Yeah.
higher than you've been, you know?
Yeah. So I guess weirdly my answer is like I got motivated by getting unmotivated and then be like,
Totally.
hang on, why do I feel so shit about this? Kind of actually deconstructing it a little bit. And now I'm very excited and I'm very refreshed and stuff, but I felt like shit at the beginning of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't get to that place. But a mixture of, getting a pep talk from people that I trust and looking at things a bit more critically and logically and
Mm-hmm.
just switching stuff up. Yeah, I'm feeling good again now, so that's that's exciting.
Yeah, motivation is really weird because it's not only like where do you get your ideas from? Where do you get the motivation to like what is this art piece about? The motivation a lot comes from, or rather the lack of motivation is not I don't know what to create, it's I don't know how to find the energy to create it.
That's true. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And especially as we get like older and have done art for so long, I feel like it's different when you're creating art and everything is like brand new. So both, I don't know, you have a lower standard of yourself then, and everything is quite new, so you don't really know what is you're not as critical, and you're a little bit more excited because it's all so fresh.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're younger and you're just getting into it, it's much easier to put out stuff like right away and feel kind of okay about it. And as you get older and you become more seasoned as an artist, you become more critical.
Yes.
You want to do stuff at a higher quality. You learn more, so you know what's bad and what's good, and it becomes like more, and it should become more labor intensive to create your art. You should always be pushing yourself.
Yeah, and I guess you're very familiar with that because although I've been doing art for a while, different kind of projects and mediums and stuff, you've been doing just flat sound for over a decade now.
Over a decade,
11, 12 years. Like,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
It is a
to
long
do one
time
project.
for
Yeah.
sure, and it's changed so much in that. I feel like it's the core of it is still me, and still very vulnerable and very sad, but very hopeful and very human. And of course, I've done other things other than stuff that I directly relate to flat sound, like a Gentle Earth, and now there's I was going to only reach so far, so poetry and some these like online kind of art installation type things that we do. And then I bought phone numbers and did other art pieces like that. But Flat Sound itself is like the long standing, like that's what pays my bills.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been working on for so long. And it's just so it's such a big part of me. But again, it's much easier to create when you're younger, because you can churn out a song in a heartbeat and think like, not even that it's perfect, but it's the best that you can do at the time. That's what I'm always saying, is like, just do the best that you can do at the time. But as you get older and you become more experienced in that art, the best that you can do is like, doing your best means something totally different.
It does, yeah. Using the best of your knowledge is like, well, my knowledge goes so much further now,
Right. So as far as motivation goes, I want my answer to be a little bit shorter, but something I've been doing and have been completely obsessed with lately, as you know, is I've been like changing everything in my office.
Yeah.
My office is my recording space. It's where I am now. And I'm like, if I move the couches over here, and what if I do this? No. I'm not going to get an optimal mix set up like this, but I'm not going to. Okay, if I take these, how far does this have to be from the wall? I can't do that. I can't do this. Room is too small. But what if I did this? I need to take back the Yamahas. I need to sell the Yamahas. I can't have these monitors here. And I'm researching monitors. I'm researching isolation pads. I'm researching acoustic panels. I'm researching bass traps. I'm researching all this stuff.
Yeah.
Almost to a detriment, because that's just how my brain works. And I mean, that's how a lot of artists' brains work. I mean, as soon as you have access to any bit of money and free time, it's not like I'm putting off writing songs. I'm trying to make my songs as good as possible. And this is an extension of that.
Yeah.
So
it can tip into a bad direction.
Of course. And I know so many, like, I mean, how many, just any like artist on YouTube who like started out wanting to be a songwriter, but now they're just like a gear reviewing channel because their desk looks amazing, but it's not a real place to work. It's not a real place to do stuff. They're just unless I want it, like I shouldn't fall too far down this rabbit hole unless I wanted to stop doing Flat Sound and started like mixing and mastering other people's work for a living, you know?
Yeah.
But considering my work is just writing a good song, and I've been writing what I think to be good songs from bedroom since I was 16 years old, I need to keep that magic. And this is sort of my way of kind of keeping that magic alive, is that when I get a new blank, when I start experimenting with a new blank, I don't know it yet. I don't know my capabilities of that thing yet, and I still feel like I'm on the precipice of like something that I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's how I was when I first started writing songs. I love not knowing. I love experimenting. I love not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, because I feel like you get a more natural sense of experimentation like that. And when you accomplish something and you finish something in that kind of a cloudy haze of not quite knowing something, you're just kind of reaching at things that are creative. You're reaching at ideas, and then you piece it together as this thing that like really works for you. But the more you know, the least you can, the less you can do that. And that's not good advice for everybody. Like a lot of people want to pick one thing and say, I'm going to get very, very good at just this piece of gear that I invested in. That's probably the smart thing to do. It doesn't keep me motivated though.
Right. Like that's not good advice for a concert violinist or something.
No, of course
like,
not.
no,
Get
you probably just
very good
need
at
to
that
get
thing.
really good at the one violin. Yeah.
But for me, I want to kind of always be learning something.
Yeah, but the music you do is more experimental, so it makes sense that you would create more new pockets of space for you to experiment in, you know? Because that's a very important part of your practice and your sound, I think.
Yeah, lots and lots of people
experimentation of it.
For years are just like, what do you use to record blank, and how do I blank, and I really want to get your sound, and it's blank, and outside of that just not making sense sonically. It depends on the type of voice you have, the type of guitar you have, the type of room that you're in, how you mix it.
Yeah.
I couldn't just be like, use this microphone and you'll sound like Flat Sound and it's fine. The best thing that you can do is to experiment with the things that you already have that you haven't like squeezed everything out of yet.
Yeah.
You know? Because I've used gear for a long time until it broke. It's a little bit harder for me to do now because I'm older and actually have money, and my brain just goes a million miles an hour, and I always want to do something else. But no, you can still like use the gear that's in front of you, especially when you're starting out, and just drive it into the ground. But I always just think it's in order for me to stay motivated, I always have to not know something about it. I always have to be doing something different with it. I always have to almost like not be able to replicate something is really important to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I'll do something, and it feels much more like I'm capturing something special if I don't know how to replicate it.
Yeah.
So I can perform, let's say, renditions of I Exist and By Your Side live, but they don't really sound like I Exist or By Your Side. I'm using other things like this tape machine to use as the synths when the chorus comes in and I Exist. But is that what I did before? No, I used a cello bow on my acoustic guitar when I was 16 years old, you know?
Yeah.
It's all just renditions of things I've already done because I don't know how to perform that thing anymore. Yeah, I couldn't capture it again because the thing I captured was special. You know, like I genuinely believe that. The thing I captured was special and I was just a part of it.
Yeah.
So that really keeps me motivated. And it's hard to do that for a long time because, again, as you get older, you become better at something, and I always want to push what I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the positive thing is that like there will never be like a time where I think that I know everything about anything. You know,
that's true. Yeah.
There's an endless amount of things that I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much of it all the time. So as long as I'm careful, I don't fall into any rabbit holes that go too deep. I think that everything, even that I'm doing now to set up the space and to do all this stuff and to get new monitors and to get isolation stands for them and these isoacoustics to do all this stuff, I feel like it's gonna push me more to just be like, yes, now this I'm not quite familiar with, and now my mixes I want them to sound like this, and I want, you know, but yeah, as far as motivation for like songs and stuff like that goes, that's a completely different boring question. I just you just live life and want to create things about it, right?
Yeah. It's like that fucking question that interviewers ask that's like, you know, they'll just ask it in magazine blog posts and stuff. It's like,
yeah, like where do you get your ideas from?
Where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I guess I go up to the fucking idea tree and pick one up. Like,
what does
that mean?
It doesn't mean anything, of course. It's like such a non-question. I would love to delete that question from any. It's just like, it's almost mean to ask somebody, or it's like insulting to ask somebody. Oh my god, where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah.
This one book. What does that mean? Like, I don't know, God. I manifested them. I just like that doesn't make any sense to me. I live life and want to then make art out of it.
Yeah.
It's expression. Like you're asking me to explain expression. Where do you get your ideas from? My head.
Yeah. I follow this horror illustrator on Twitter who I like a lot, called Julia Grafora. And she had a tweet thread that I think about a lot. It's just like, I hate when people ask me where my ideas come from. It's like, do you not have a constant like shit stream of ideas coming out all the time? It doesn't mean all of them are good. Most of them are bad. But it's constant. Like, I look at things and I'm having, you gotta kind of pan through them. They're just like, what's it like to be someone who doesn't have ideas? I can't imagine even asking that question. But yeah,
it sounds peaceful. Honestly, it sounds pretty nice. Yeah, because that's really accurate. Your brain is just always dumping these things, and I'll know when I have an idea that I kind of like because I'll immediately get up and start pacing around.
You do pace,
I can't handle like. Just kind of sitting on something for too long. So if I'll have an idea, and this could be about a song, a certain chorus, or what if I did this in a recording, or even just about the office and how I can set it up, and what if I did this, I will get up and I'll start pacing around the house.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you have a good idea. And then you have to pick that, and then you have to pursue it a little bit. And the funniest thing is that in the end, there's like at least a 50-50 chance that it's going to suck.
It might be bad.
It might still be a bad idea. Or you just didn't execute it well.
It might have been a good idea and a bad execution. You have to do it another time. Yeah, definitely.
Or like it could be a bad idea that you didn't really fully realize why it was bad until you're like 2 weeks into, this thing and you're, oh, fuck, this sucks. You put everything back. No, delete the recording. This fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You try things a lot and sometimes they work and that's it.
Yeah. I think this brings us on to our next question that we wanted to ask pretty well, though we are at 45-ish minutes, but we can do one more, I think.
We could do it. I could talk about art forever. What do you think makes a good artist?
I think, this is what I think. I think a really, really key part of it is that process that we just talked about of realizing when ideas are, like, bad. Like, being...
That's pretty much, like, the most important part to me.
Being able to be, like, self-critical, I think. And compare your work, not to other people's work, but, like, other work that you've done, or, like, things that you envisioned, or, like, also sometimes comparing it to other people's work, like, what your inspiration was to it and stuff like that. But I think being critical is... I don't mean critical in, like, being mean way. I mean it in the artistic, like, critic sense, being or a restaurant critic, for example. Like, I mean,
well, lots of people are critical in a way that holds them back, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I would even expand on what you said just slightly in the like, compare it to people that you're inspired by. Yeah, I want to put a special importance in that. Like, compare it to art that you like. Compare it to why you like that art. What is it about that art that you like, and does your art give you a similar feeling? Yeah. Because if it does not, that's a red flag. And if it does, that's good. But not everybody can do that. A lot of people lack the ability to do that.
Yeah. I don't think it's just like, it's not like a thing that you either can do or can't do. I think it's a thing that you get better at, for sure.
Yeah. So they haven't learned to do that.
Yeah, or I haven't thought to do it even a lot of the time.
Maybe,
I think is like a key part of it.
I feel like I've met a lot of artists who just straight up cannot do it.
That might also be true,
I really do think I've met a lot of artists who cannot fucking do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. And I don't mean in a way that's going to hold you back, where you're always looking at your stuff and you'll be like, it's not as good as I want it to be, and it's not as good as this person who's 20 years deep into their career and I'm only 2,
Right.
And it's not as good as this thing that was made professionally by a whole team of people. Like, be realistic.
You have to be realistic.
Your comparisons, obviously.
Well, nobody's realistic either, because like, because that's another huge thing for me, is that like they're not even realistic, both in their own art and what it means, but what their art is compared to other people's. Like, it's all just like this very like warped perception of what art even is, and then they're questioning why it's bad. It's like, because it's not, there's nothing about it that makes any bit of logical sense, which I know is, like, weird to say about art, and I'm not saying about the expression itself, but the execution of it. Yeah, because there's a, I think, an example that I can give, and please don't forget what you're saying, but the being realistic to me means that, like, man, I can't tell you how many emails I get, how many messages I get, how many people contact me all of the time for years. There's probably one I haven't seen from today, just sitting, just fucking waiting for me to read it, from somebody who says, hi, God, I've liked your music for like so long, and I've been working on my first EP ever. I've been working on it for 6 months, and you're my favorite artist in the world, and it would mean everything to me. It would be the best thing in the world if we did a song together. Please let me know. Goodbye. A lot of times they won't include their fucking name or project. They won't include a song from the thing. So even if I was feeling wacky and said sure, even though if you love me as much as you claim, I don't ever do shit like this. But imagine yourself as an artist, and you're just starting out. You've not even released your first thing yet, and you want, on your very first release, your favorite artist to collaborate with you?
Then what?
Then what? Where do you go from there? This is a fantasy to you. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
what is the point of you making art?
What have you done to deserve this at this point? You haven't done a first step.
You haven't earned a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if the point of you making art is for the accolades that come with it, the bragging rights to tell your friends I did blank with blank, and then you shouldn't be making art. Or that you don't perceive art in a realistic way. You don't perceive your art in a realistic way. You don't even perceive mine in a realistic way to think that I have time to even respond to this. It doesn't make sense. So I feel that obviously is a red flag to not a good artist.
Yeah.
They're not able to see it. I would never send an email like that. Ever.
No.
At any point in me making art, even at 16.
No. To your favorite art. No, because it doesn't make any sense at all. No. And that's not to say don't try and collaborate with people you like. Do that, but do it with people who are in your same range, level of experience, or slightly above. But
slightly above. Yeah, that's how you climb the ladder.
That is how you climb, yeah. I've shot with people who I really, really admire, but I didn't start off doing that. Right. It's just a really wacky expectation. I don't know. Because then where do you go? And I think that counts with collaborating, and what I was saying before with comparing is this idea of being able to kind of accurately evaluate where you are in terms of the quality of your work, the stage of your career, the kind of community that you're doing it in. And then that allows you to compare it to people who your peers not in the sense of who are your friends, but who are at the same level as you,
right?
Or
your artistic peers.
within arm's reach, you know. And that goes with music, could I get this person to guest on my EP? No. Could I maybe down the line, if I release a couple of albums, could I open for them at a local show? Maybe. Perhaps.
Yeah. Why don't you
That's
aim for
more
that?
realistic. Yeah. But yeah, you got to get to that point first. But I would never compare my work to fucking. I just went to a show at the Photographers Gallery yesterday, and it's a retrospective of people who have been working since the 70s, and the photography is immaculate, beautiful. But why the fuck would I compare my photography to someone who's been working for literally 50 years, you know? I can draw a lot of inspiration from it, and I say, well, maybe I'll be at that stage in 20 more years. Right.
And I think viewing things in a realistic way, I think of back to when, and I think this really helped me, and I want to encourage other people to do the same thing. I'm not even saying it'll hey, hit me up in 10 years and see if you're where I'm at. You can get to where I'm at much quicker than 10 years. I took a very slow climb to where I am because of just how I was doing it and my intentions in doing it and how I wanted to do it. And even the mental things that held me back, being completely agoraphobic, was a much, much slower climb. You can do that much, much quicker, but not hey, here's a first EP. I don't have even a single song to show you. You don't know my name or anything about me. So wanna cook? And it's no, I'm not. Imagine if I said yes. What dreamland are you fucking living in? Oh yeah, I don't know who you are, if you suck, if you're even a good person.
Yeah.
I don't even know your project name. You've not released a single thing. Yeah, fuck it. I'll spend a few days on this. Yeah. Hey man, nice to meet you. My name's Mitch. Fuck off. Go away.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Because then again, what is your intention of creating in creating art? Because now I'm doubtful that it's actually, something authentic.
Yeah, rather than clout. Yeah.
Yeah. And where do you go from here? Because that's something that you were saying, and that's what blows my mind the most. Where in the fuck do you expect to go from here? Because the thing that helped me the most, and I'm encouraging other people to do the same, is that when I started Flat Sound, granted I was younger and it was a different era of the internet and in how the internet worked and the whole landscape has changed. But just as an example, my kind of stepping stones that I looked at, was like, I started making songs on a 4-track, an 8-track recorder on a Fostex MR8. And I thought, this is fun. What if I uploaded some of them to a MySpace page one day? And then what if I get like a handful of songs on there? And then what if I start like adding people and they actually accept a friend request? And then what if they listened to my music? And every single one of those things is another step, is another thing that I've accomplished. What if, and each of these things were like, what if I like put out a little like split album with another artist? And what if I played a show? And what if I made my own album?
Yeah.
And what if and all of those things were the smallest steps, and eventually, somewhere on there, so close to the top that I couldn't even see it, it was my dream. God, what if somebody was so moved by my work that they got like a tattoo of it or something? I don't even want to think about it. That's ridiculous. It was just something that I wouldn't even share with people.
Yeah.
I just privately thought it before I went to bed at night, you know? But I knew that there was about 2,000 steps and many years until then. And I took those steps.
Yeah.
Every single thing was, okay, let's, what if I do a split album? And what if I did it like this? And what if I got this? And what if I made a song like, and what if and I just did each and every one of those things. And you don't start out with like, the emails that I get are just as ridiculous as if a person would reach out to somebody, to me at least, are just as ridiculous as if a person reached out to somebody and was just like, hey, I'm really looking for someone to like get a tattoo of my work. And I was just wondering if you would do that. I was just wondering if like you would be a fan of my work to the point where you get a tattoo of it like right here on your arm.
Because that'd be really cool for me.
Yeah, because that would be really, really cool for me. It's like, no, you have to earn that.
Yeah, that would really fulfill like a kind of private dream of mine.
You don't start there. Why do you want to start there? It's weird to start there.
Yeah, of course.
The climb there is super fun. Why wouldn't you want that? And now I'm doubting why you're doing this, because I don't think it's authentic.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, boom, I don't think that's what makes a good artist. And like fucking, let's say 10 times out of 10, your art is shit. You know, like it's not good. And how could it be? You barely started.
Yeah, also just fucking, I don't know, if I'd taken portraits of some of the people who I really admire and look up to and have collaborated with, if I'd done that early on when I was like, say, at my first university doing that professional diploma, if I'd taken the photos then, I mean, at that time, granted, yeah, I was good for an 18-year-old.
Right.
Kind of. Was not a prodigy. I was all right. Now, I'd be like, fuck, that was embarrassing. I can't believe that I probably had one chance to work with that person, and I was a baby at the time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Looking back now, it's not that good.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of still in my practicing era, you know?
Fuck, if I could only work with them now, I'd really do some cool shit. For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
It's like, I wouldn't want to do that stuff straight away because, like, I don't know. Not to say you can't do good stuff early on. You should do the best stuff that you can, absolutely. But I don't know why you'd want to, like, bring in heroes at that point, you know?
You don't bring in heroes at that point.
No,
like, come on, like, this is not Make-A-Wish, bro. Like, it's,
you know?
Yeah, it's, come on. I'd go so far as to even say, like, the type of people that ask that won't even get the opportunity to look back and say, fuck, I can't believe I worked with them years ago. I really blew that opportunity because now I'm great, because those people will not make art long enough in the future to think that.
Yeah.
They're only in this for a little bit. And they just want all of the good things that come with being this. It's almost like the a big thing that I always used to tell people is that many artists out there are not, they're artists in the same way that everybody is an artist, you know? Everybody's an artist. I feel that, you know? I feel that like everybody is creative and everybody, but like as far as like wanting to be an artist and pursuing being an artist, a lot of these people, they're not musicians, they're not songwriters. They really like the idea of telling people that they're a songwriter. They really like the idea of telling people that they're creative. But when it comes to actually making the thing, and when it comes to actually doing it themselves, and they just don't have it in them to see why questions like that are inappropriate.
Yeah.
Why they make no sense and they aren't based in reality at all. They're not realistic. And as well as that, like why their art probably isn't good enough comparatively to that other person's art to be on the same track, to collaborate, with on photography, to do things like that, because they don't even have a realistic view of what their art is like. At that point, at a young age, I could never imagine, if someone was just like, do a track with this artist, I'm not that good. Like, there's no way. I will make a fool of myself.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, I wanted to quickly say one more thing just on the subject of things that you think make a good artist, because we're only really talking about it like in comparison to other people right now.
Okay.
But I think, and this is a thing that we used to get kind of not worked up about on Twitter, but we just kind of roll our eyes at a lot, would I think a good not necessarily a good artist, but like I don't want to say a true artist, but
yeah.
fucking, what's the word? Let's just even say an artist. What do I think makes an artist? And the answer is someone who makes art consistently kind of off of their own back.
Yes.
And that sounds like such an obvious fucking answer, but you'd be astounded at the amount of people who are like, yeah, I'm an artist. I haven't made any art or had the desire to for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
At that point, bro, say you used to be an artist. Like, so, if I haven't fucking baked for 2 years, and I'm like, yeah, I used to be into baking. I haven't done it for years, though.
Yeah, I haven't really done it, though. I'm not really into it anymore.
Yeah.
But that, man, okay, here's the thing, though. I'm encouraging many people out there listening now that are definitely falling into this category, that I am an artist except for the fact that I don't make art, to consider doing something about it.
Yeah.
We're not saying give up. We're saying that you have to make art in order to be an artist.
Yeah.
That's just that at least because these are the same people that kind of see a future in it too. They're like, oh, I'm this except blank. And I mean, I've not been on Twitter for like a little while now, but I'm still getting like that sort of a feeling there. I could just almost see the tweets. I could see the negative reaction to people. There's always a yeah but to that, and that's unfortunate because I got some yeah buts, bro. Like I get that people are just like, yeah, I haven't made art in 2 years. Ever heard of depression, you fucking asshole? And also, I'm poor and I had to take care of my this, and that's why. It's like, okay, well then those are the reasons that you used to be an artist. And I personally think that it's tragic that all of that happened. And I'm so sorry. You're talking to someone who was housebound for 10 years, bro. My brain is busto. It is broken. I have had the same therapist for 8 fucking years, dude. I took care of my dying dad and I was poor as shit. I made flat sound work. I'm not saying you can. I'm not even saying you should.
No,
I'm just saying
the right time in your life. Like, yeah.
I'm just saying that I get it. I get it. I fully fucking get it. And I still had a fucking drive in me every day. Even I have songs. Most of my songs at that point were about trying to find that drive and being depressed and all that stuff, and just the not having the energy to fold the clothes that have been sitting on my floor for 3 weeks, And I get that. I get the broken brain. I get the taking care of something. I get the not having money. I understand that. And I'm telling you that it's either the reason that you're not creating art anymore or it's not. But I'm not a bad person for saying that after this long of you not making it. It's not other people's fault that you're not making art. It's just not. It wasn't my agoraphobia's fault. It wasn't my sick dad's fault. It wasn't the money. It wasn't anything like that. I wanted to make art, and I found it in me to do so. And I'm telling you, if I could do it, I know you can do it, bro. I'm the most... I know this whole pandemic thing has got everyone thinking that they're agoraphobic. Fuck you. I hate that. I hate it. I hate seeing that word pop up so fucking much, bro. I didn't leave the house for 10 fucking years.
10 years, yeah. A decade.
A decade stuck inside. A therapist for so fucking long. The constant thinking I was dying and the shaking and not being able to walk to my fucking mailbox and being 95 pounds. I get it. You know what I didn't do? So I didn't make it this like relatable fucking dance on the internet where I didn't I'm getting too heated, but like
You're good.
I made something, I think at least I made something very beautiful out of it without pandering, without using it as an excuse, without blaming it on other people why I didn't, like do this other thing. And I'm just saying I think you can too. And how can I not think that? How can I not think that?
Yeah, your concrete evidence of it. Yeah.
If you wanted to tell some fucking some completely neurotypical person that they don't understand and they blah 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 blah, I totally get that. I've told those people to fuck off a whole lot. You don't get why I can't leave the fucking house. I understand that, but I'm telling you, you can't tell that to me. Right. You can't say it to me though. Yeah. And I'm telling you, you can do it. Yeah. If you want.
Yeah, because what I don't want people to think when we say stuff like this is I don't want it to come off like this, because I know this is how it can come off. Is me saying like, you're not a real artist, so you need to stop calling yourself that because I'm gatekeeping or whatever, you know? What I'm saying is it would be... What I'm saying is it's frustrating for me to see that, because I'm like, God, it would be so much better for your... I think it would. I think it would generally. I'm not talking to any specific person here, obviously. I think it would be so much better for your life state if you either, A, be like, I'm on a hiatus, I'm doing some other stuff, and that's very, very valid. You're like, it's not the time of my life to do this right now. If you do have just a ton on your plate, then whatever. Or B... Bro, make the art. If you're like in your heart, like, I'm an artist and I want to express myself and I want to make things, then like, make it. Make something small. Make something this fucking week. You don't have to show anyone necessarily, but like, get that ball moving again, because like, it's sad to me. It's sad to me when people are like, no, I see myself as an artist, but oh gee, no one else does because I don't make any. And it's like, make them see it then. Make me see it, you know? Make some stuff, you know? What I'm not doing is being like, get out and never pick up a paintbrush again. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. I'm being like, no, come in, but come in properly. Like, you know?
Yeah, because you're just kind of lingering at the doorway now, you know, for like the last 2 years.
Exactly,
you know? Okay, well... you know, this can help you. I know it can help them. I know it can help them if they want it to, because I think that's the problem that a lot of people have. This is the hardest pill for people to swallow, and I'm going to tie that into the last question. And it's, do you have any hot takes about the kind of art that you create? Because a lot of the things that we're saying now, we generally disagreed with. Yeah. But what can you say when we work with firsthand? This is our firsthand experience as two people who make a living off of art. How many people do you know that are like that? So maybe it might be valuable to listen to us. You know, it could actually benefit you.
Yeah, two people who are making a living off of it currently. Admittedly, my living very modest, but I'm doing it as my only source of income, and both struggle with various mental health problems. Both have had fucking a myriad of financial problems as well, you know, like, we kind of know where we're coming from, you know?
Right. Here's my hot take, though, and I'm gonna erase the part, because I was planning on getting into a bunch of other stuff, because I wrote down the question as about the kind of art that you create, and here's a very summed up thing I was gonna say. DIY is shit. It doesn't make any. I don't like it. I don't support it. I don't like DIY labels. I don't like most DIY bands. I don't like the scene. I think the scene is fucking grimy. That was going to be my hot take, my unpopular opinion. But I think I'd like to change that and just talk about kind of art in general to wrap this up. And I wanted to actually say my hot take is that art isn't for everybody. Creating art as a living, having it as a job. We're at this weird in-between now in, when I was growing up, it was kind of commonly known, like, yeah, there's no money or living in art. Like it's to be an artist as a living is this pipe dream, and you need a real job. But that's one side of this kind of a spectrum over here. But now I feel like we've gone too far on the other side, and everybody thinks that they could and should do it just because they like the idea of being an artist and not necessarily making art, you know?
Right, that being the key distinction, yeah.
Right. So being realistic somewhere in the middle, I think, can help people a whole lot, because I maybe it's like an old school, way of thinking, but I'm just like, yeah, no, art is very unprofitable, despite what you see online of all these, because I know we just recently had an episode where I was like, Spotify is good, and I do stand by that, because this is a whole thing, but they pay artists fairly compared to how popular they are, and that's just how streaming works. It all makes perfect sense. I've researched it endlessly, and I'm telling you, completely unbiased opinion, that it all checks out. It does not mean that you will make a living off of Spotify. That's still hard to do.
Yeah.
So if you're creating these things already in your life that say, well, I'm an artist and I make art, and I would really like you to support my art, and I don't really have much art for you, though, and I don't really have much to show you. And I do have this, like, one thing I made from 3 years ago, and I do... But, I mean, what you have to understand is that I would make it if it wasn't for X, Y, and Z. And honestly, every time I do make it, I'm not even having a good time doing it. And it's so frustrating for me, and nobody's listening to it. I don't even like creating the art. It's like, then don't. Don't make the fucking art. No one's making you do it.
You don't have to, yeah.
You really don't have to do it. If you don't enjoy doing it, why in the fuck would you want to do it? And I think it's because people live with this idea that it's actually attainable to them. And I'm saying it is, through lots of hard work. And I see it firsthand. It's hard work that you're not doing.
Yeah.
So what were my chances of making it an art? Even if I did all of the stuff that I did, all of the things that I was working on, how consistent I was, and all of the the hundreds of songs that I've written, and the never giving up, even though nobody was listening, and all this stuff. Even working as hard as I was, being realistic and making the small steps, my chance to make it was still very small. Very small, very unrealistic, but still realistic steps to an unrealistic goal. My chance was still small, and I took it. I still love that. I still like that. I still fully support that. Let's say you don't do any of what I did. Your chance to make it's fucking non-existent.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't exist. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Seeing so many artists out there, like, claiming that they want this thing, but doing it in all of the steps where having that thing in the end is actually impossible. It's super frustrating. I want you to do this for a living, but only if you want to, only if you're passionate about it. And most of them, no, come on, get out of here. No.
Yeah.
Which is not to say all of them. I know some fucking fire indie artists. I know some that are, I know. You keep this up, you're going to fucking blow up. You keep watching that digital landscape and how it changes, you will have what I have in half the time. Give it 5 years. Yeah. Will you give 5 years to this project? You'll have something.
Yeah.
They're going to fucking do it. And I've seen even, like, smaller artists, like a really good example is my friend from, they have a project called Skirts. It's Alex.
Yeah.
And they're credited in I Clung to You. They were a follower on Tumblr. And I always knew their art was like something special. I always knew it. And what did they do? Make albums, make lathe cuts, make cassettes, and release them and go on little tours and just working at it. And they're still doing it now. And they're like, I could feel they're just coming up. They just are about to release an album through I think it's like double whammy or something, and are getting like written about in like the Fader and shit. Like it's like they're
cool.
making it happen, and it took them years because they were credited on I Clung to You just as a voice clip, and they just continued fucking doing it, and they're killing it, and I'm so proud of them. And I see that so much, but it's rare. I don't see it so much. I see it in like I can name like maybe 5 people off the top of my head. The rest of you got some work to do.
Yeah.
I don't think art's for everybody, but it's what everybody claims to want to do.
I will actually have a minor disagreement with you there, because I'm one of those saps who actually, I kind of do think that art is for everybody, but I don't think that art as a living or as a full-time thing is for everybody.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like this career isn't for everybody. Well, creating art is for everybody.
Yeah, I think I think there's pretty much nobody whose life couldn't be improved by adding some kind of creative output to it.
Of course.
I think that we don't have enough time in our society currently, like, put into letting people have outlets like that. And I would love it to be more. But we're talking about like having it be your main shit.
Of course,
that you do.
Pursuing
which
it
is
as
kind of a different thing.
As your main thing. No, God, no. I'm not talking about like even just like the the socioeconomic complex thing that involved like how many times have we talked about like a long time ago just the like the idea that creating art not as a profession but just creating art is seen as this more of a bougie thing and not of a working class thing, because who has the money and who has the time to even get into painting, even though it's this really relaxing and cathartic thing, and who writes poetry. I work a factory job and all the it's I don't like that line that draws. Art is for everybody. Being expressive and creative is for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm saying in the current age of people just saying shit online, I am a blank. I think it's just, I want them to succeed so much, but they're doing the exact opposite that they should do, and they're making it so their chance to do this is absolutely nothing. It's small if you do everything. It's nothing if you're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. I think if you back it up a little bit, but back up what you're calling yourself. Give us some, not proof. This isn't a fucking,
Not trying to be all gatekeepy about this.
Yeah,
no.
like
we're rooting for you, but we have to. You have to do it, and we know that you can do it.
Yeah, do the thing that you say that you want to do. Be better for everyone. Yeah. We've gone so long over, I think.
That's what happens when we talk about art.
I could talk a lot more about it, and maybe we should do this again.
Well, it's about
for another episode.
3:45 in the morning for you, right?
It is. Oh my god, it is exactly that.
And it's just getting dark for me, and I have to mix the whole damn thing and get it online.
And you gotta put that duck noise in at the beginning.
Fucking
yeah.
I don't want to. Would it be funny if I didn't? And you get to the end of it and you can hear me saying I'm not going to do it. No, I'll put it in. My fear is that people will hear this episode and be like, well, that wasn't very fun. Well, that's not my fear. I don't give a fuck if you think a podcast is fun. But the
no podcasts are fun.
Is that they're gonna see this, and even this advice isn't for everybody, even because a lot of people will feel attacked by it. They'll feel the need to make excuses for why they blank and why they don't something, and then they'll dislike us as a result of this advice because they think. But I guarantee all those people are. I get why you're offended. I get why you feel targeted. Just know that I'm rooting for you. And not trying to come off as this, like, I want all the people that I know that are succeeding and that I'm super proud of that came from nothing. They're doing something. They're doing something. And you'd be it's hard to find an artist out there that I associate with and that isn't just like struggling with some form of mental something, you can do it through that. But I think that's what years of CBT taught me. Yeah. Is that like, yo, I totally get your brain's busted. Carve your own path. I get that doing it in the traditional way, like I couldn't tour. That was too hard for me. That was my limitation. I couldn't fucking play shows. I couldn't do anything like that. I carved another path.
Yeah. Do it now. Do it now. I don't know. We're very passionate about this. It's like, yes, it's valid to not do things. That is how it is sometimes. It's true. It is like that sometimes. It's not like that for 3 years. Like, that's not
Jordan,
that's not circumstantial at that point, you know.
Jordan told me years ago, and I still think about it, but he told me years ago that everybody has a misconception of what writer's block is. Because a lot of people will say, oh, I haven't written in like 2 years. I have like such writer's block. And he's like, no. That's not what writer's block is. Writer's block is when you're like halfway through a writing session and you hit a wall. You were like pouring stuff out and then suddenly, damn, where the fuck did it go? What is that? It's like, what is that? But that writer's block is not when you refuse to do the thing and you don't do it and you don't pick up a pen for years. That's just not being a writer.
Interesting. Yeah.
He told me that years and years ago, and I was just like, damn, that's cool. Because he's like super into writing. Yeah. He's written many scripts and thrown them away, and then he writes more scripts, and maybe he shows people. I've never read a single one of his scripts. And and then he writes these other things. Yeah, and he's like, you know, like he's my age. He's been doing it for years and years, and is super passionate about it.
Yeah.
For the love of doing that, or maybe wanting to do it one day, you got to match that energy, because I think that's the true life of most artists, is trying and failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not okay with that, maybe this isn't the life for you, because that's what it'll be for most people all the time. And even if you do succeed, most of your experience at the beginning, you know?
Yeah. For sure. Oof. Okay. It's nearly 4 a.m.
It's bedtime.
I gotta go to bed.
Okay. This has been All the Space in Between. My name's Mitch.
My name is Billy. I hope that you enjoyed listening to this. It's been nearly a fucking hour and a half of us just yammering away to each other. If you got any questions about anything that we talked about in this episode, maybe, or like advice that we could help you out with, we'd love to hear that. Alternately, email us literally about fucking anything, about your relationships, about embarrassing stories, about long distance stuff, about anything
you want us to talk about.
Yeah. If you would like us to talk about it on the show, then you can shoot us an email. Our address is allthespaceInbetween@gmail.com. And if you like this podcast and you would like other people to like this podcast, because God knows we do not promote this podcast outside of but you know what's great? We're growing. That's cool.
That is good. And I credit you know, like we'll read emails all the time. I actually started listening to the show because my friend suggested it to me. Be that friend. Be that friend, please, because we put in a lot of work and do it consistently every single week. We're here just to talk for at least an hour lately. Hour and a half now about whatever the heck we want. If you do like to hear us talk, maybe other people would like to hear us talk. And if you think that they might, tell them to search All the Space in Between wherever podcasts are found. That's Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or our very convenient website, which is
smallhog.com.
Smallhog.com is up. It's running from the last episode. Smallhog.com. If you want to see a picture of a small hog, and if you click that, it'll take you to allthespaceinbetween.com, which is probably where you should send them originally.
It should probably be allthespaceinbetween.com.
But maybe as a funny joke,
people, but
tell them to go to smallhog.com. I still cannot believe I landed that fucking domain.
We do, in fact, own and are operating smallhog.com officially. So
very, very cool. New episodes every Monday. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.